by the highway.
Yeah.
I get off the highway, and there's a commuter lot like this.
Yeah.
Like full of like trucks, like giant lifted pickup trucks.
And you know what that means.
Yeah, and they have flags on the back of them. So I'm driving these windy roads back to this winery, and I'm behind 3 different trucks, and they're driving slow as hell. And like, you know, on like those roads, you can pass people. I was like, should I do it? And I was like, I'm not gonna do it. They'll wind up and kill me. Like, they will not pull over.
But you saw the Trump flags?
Yeah, they had Trump flags, had American flags, thin blue line flags, like all of it. The "Don't Tread on Me," all of that. And so right before my GPS is telling me to turn, there's like a church entrance. Like it's either a church or like one of those like lodges. Mm-hmm. And that's where the 3 trucks turned. And there's a guy like flagging people in. And I look and the lot is full of trucks with flags. Full of them. And I'm like, oh shit. And so I turn and it's literally like the winery backed up into that lot. So I'm driving, parking, and I can see the trucks in the distance, like driving to, I guess, meet up. They were doing some giant flag thing. And of course, there were Trump flags, there were Confederate flags, there were any kind of flag you can think of was on the back of those trucks. And they were yeehaw, yee, and all that shit.
That shit scares me.
It scared the hell out of me, too. I was like, me, alcohol, white racist, like, I don't know.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It ended up being all right. Nobody messed with us.
But it's crazy, like, that type of shit can evoke. I get scared when I see shit like that.
Oh my God. I was so scared, but I was like, I have like the privilege of being like a Black girl. Like they don't typically mess with like young Black women like that. Like if they saw a group of Black dudes there,
you're right,
that'd be different. But it was like a birthday. So we went for someone's birthday. Like there were a couple Black dudes, but it was mostly girls.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. They're not going to really
They're not going to mess with us.
That thin blue flag. The thing that kind of bothers me about that is nothing really bothers me. Like whatever the fuck you want to do, but they always wave that at Trump rallies, right? And the thing is, you'll see those on police cars,
right? And they try to say that there's not a connection, but there's always the same kind of flags, T-shirt, whatever at Trump rallies. There's always a Confederate flag. There's always a "Don't Tread on Me," which is also racist, is in my mind at least.
What's the history of that flag?
I don't really know for real. Like I know that's like something about like libertarians, I believe, which is like they don't believe in government at all. Like not anarchists, but like
they support
as the least amount of government as possible. Like they're like the ones that don't like welfare, and so like they have conservative views. They're right leaning, but they're further right than Republican on like the scale.
I've seen the word. I never really knew what it meant.
I'm pretty sure that's their flag. Because my ex-roommate had it, and she was a libertarian. That's a different story, though.
See, with libertarian, it sounds like liberty.
Yeah. Which I guess technically it is because they don't want government in their shit.
Yo, we kind of just dove into it. Welcome back to the Young Mind Podcast. Got homegirl Syd. This is actually our second time recording. She kind of one-upped me. The studio wasn't ready. The camera didn't look good, so we had to do it again. You was prepared the first time. You was ready.
Really.
You was ready. You was ready, and you got the voice for a podcast too. So,
oh my God, don't do that.
But yeah, this is part 2. We got some wine, got the vibes going, and you can already tell what we're gonna be talking about.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Of course, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I started listening to the 1619 Project because you told me to listen to it.
How do you like it?
It's good. Are there more episodes? I only found like 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's only like 6 episodes, I think. It's not.
Yeah, that's disappointing because it's good.
It's very good. So like there was that one. There was one called The History of American Slavery by Slate. And then there was Uncivil. I feel like I told you about that one. I listened to
Uncivil as well. Uncivil was good.
That was good. Those were the 3 that I found were the best that I can think of right now about like Black people. Uncivil was really good though.
Yeah, Uncivil was good. The 1619 Project, like they're just very... you get a lot of information from them.
Yeah, they're talking fast.
Yeah, but it's good, and like I like how you actually get to hear stories from people impacted by this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I think one of them was the farmer.
Yeah.
That one kind of broke my heart.
It was so sad. They had 2 episodes on him, right?
Yeah. When the dad was helping him out, dad in the street.
Sad. I was reading a story today actually, and it was this super long article from The Atlantic about reparations. And like they kind of mentioned that, like to the point where like it made me think of that. So like when you just said that, I was thinking about that podcast earlier today, and it was like about how this guy moved from Mississippi like during the Great Migration. So it was in like the 50s, and how Chicago has like a history of redlining, like every city does for real, but his or Chicago's was kind of different because they moved these black people into this area and they told them, like you can buy this house, quote unquote, buy, but they weren't buying a mortgage. Like they, redlining, they limited who they could get mortgages to. So it was bought by people that were just, running after them, like trying to profit off of them. They bought it from white people who they told, like, black people are coming, the project housing, like they're gonna start doing stuff, and then it's the housing market is gonna crash because like the price of your house is gonna the value of your house is gonna go down.
Mm-hmm.
And so they told them that they got bless you. They told them to sell their houses really cheap to them. So they got their houses for like way less than what it was worth. So they own these houses now. They have the deed, and then they quote unquote sell the houses to these black people that are coming in, who they're telling, it's going to be like an interracial thing, like you shouldn't worry about it. And at the time there was like a Sears there, like there was it was a big nice area basically. So then these people buy these houses, or they think they do, because they can't get a mortgage from the bank, but the houses are actually owned by the people that sold it to them, and they sell it to them at like triple the price of what the house is worth, and then huge interest rates, but they don't actually own the house. And they say like if you miss a payment, then they're automatically evicting you. You can't miss a payment. They have to be on time, and they're enormous payments, and like nobody can actually pay, even though they have like, they've saved, they have plenty of down payment. And so for years these people were, you know, preyed on, like, and it ended up there was like a strike. So all the black people got together, they formed, I can't remember the name of the group that they called it, but they formed some group, and they called for a strike, and they were protesting in the streets and everything. And a lot of people got evicted. Like they went up, the police got involved, they evicted a lot of people from their homes, but some people got to redo the contract. So lawyers helped out, and they helped them. So there was like 100 families out of 300, but the other 200 were evicted and had to move out of the city. And now that neighborhood today is like the poorest neighborhood in all of Chicago. Like most of the houses are vacant. The people that live there, they've had those houses since the 50s, and like there's incredible crime, and like the unemployment rate is like triple the city.
They play with us, and they hold us down.
Mm-hmm.
And something I wrote down is Jared Kushner recently made a comment basically insinuating that black people aren't taking advantage of the opportunities and they're very lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing that Reagan said all those years back, that we just want handouts, we just want government assistance, and that we're not willing to work for what we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case at all. When you guys do everything you can to just hold us back behind the scenes. And there's history, like there's so much evidence of what they've done. They've always done it to us.
Mm-hmm.
They hold
and
us
it's
down.
calculated.
This country wouldn't be where it is without us.
Right. At all. Anywhere close. And they know that. Like that's written down, that's in the Constitution actually. So like they know.
The Constitution, it's kind of hypocritical if you're black, if you ask me.
Not kind of, but very much so. But yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Being black and like being woke to everything about your blackness, it can fuck you up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trauma. Like when you're talking about driving behind those people in the Trump rally, that shit
scared me.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was like, I won't pass them because I know that they would hurt me. Like I know that they would do something to scare me at the very least. They see a single black girl driving alone in a car trying to pass them. Oh, they're automatically pissed off.
Yep. Yeah, and they're already all hyped up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's 3 of them. Yeah. I knew better.
Yeah, it's like we gotta know our role. We can't get out of line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's shown so much that we have to stay in line. Because if we stay in line, the leash is so short with us that And that goes with a lot of things. When you see these videos of white people running at cops and the cops like running away from them or pulling out their taser,
Or
trying
trying
to
to talk to him,
yeah
talk him down.
diffuse the situation. But with us, 8 shots, 6 shots, they gonna let the clip fly
Mm-hmm.
over one small thing.
And like they claim that they have all these like racial bias trainings and everything, but like they're obviously not working because you can de-escalate a situation with a white man, but you can't with anyone else.
The proof's really in the pudding.
Yeah.
The proof's in the pudding.
And it's not even like just a certain area. It's cops everywhere. Like it's not an isolated situation.
I want to know why. I want to know the honest reason why.
Oh my god. I mean it's like cuz it's so old. It's so ingrained into like what we know. So like I think in that article today, I don't want to misquote it, but it was something like white supremacy is so ingrained in American culture that you can't imagine a life without white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like after slavery, it's not really talked about. Like I know I didn't learn about it in school. I strictly learned it through like documentaries and like my own research. But like you kind of hear about like the chain gangs and everything, but like you don't know what those are really. So like after the Civil War, they still needed people to do like um the labor. And obviously like the next best thing to slavery is prison labor. So then they would over police black people if there were charges or there were they came up with charges about like not truancy, I can't think of the word, but like if you're outside with
Curfew, past curfew,
not curfew, but like if you're just like outside doing nothing basically, like
loitering.
that kind of thing. Yeah, like they came up with like those loitering laws and they just started arresting people and like you get snatched up and like never know. And then so like you would be stuck and basically doing what you were doing in slavery. So like you were working on a farm or working like hard labor and they would always like change the length of your sentence without, discussing it. There were unfair trials. They would just charge you with whatever just because they saw you alone. And
Men would get arrested. I've seen a doc about that. Men would get arrested
mm-hmm,
for nothing.
for nothing. Yeah.
And fuck around, spend their
Whole
whole life
life.
doing slave labor.
And like they had to escape, like slavery. Like they literally had to escape. And so like I say that because it hasn't changed. Like it's still the same shit, but put it on 2020. Like people are still getting pulled over and arrested and whatever for no reason compared to white people. Like it's not like white people commit less crimes. It's not like white people do less things than do less drugs or especially than black people, but they just aren't policed the same way that black people are.
Every time we talk about this shit, I get this feeling in my stomach.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does. So back to the chain gangs. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's what it was. Like the chain gangs, like they were literally chained together. Like they're prisoners, like in the old black and white jumpsuits, chain. Like they had a ball and chain, literal. Like that's where it comes from. Chained to their feet so they couldn't run away because they would have to escape.
I was one of those podcasts I was listening to. There was a story during the Civil War about how they had these like black families, and the North was helping them,
Mm-hmm.
but they came across like a river and they needed to build a bridge,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew the Confederates were coming behind them, so they built the bridge, and when they crossed, they destroyed the bridge so the blacks couldn't follow them because they were slowing them down. So some of the blacks tried to swim over, some got killed by them, and some got killed by the Confederates that were coming. But it's just they were supposed to be helping these people.
But they just led them to nothing.
Well, the thing is, they got over the water, but they didn't let the other people come. And then that like really brings you to the resolution of the Civil War, which was freeing the slaves.
Mm.
They say that freeing the slaves was almost a punishment for the South, and they didn't really do it.
Yeah, no, Lincoln did not want to free the slaves. Like if you look at the Emancipation Proclamation, first of all, he only did it as an act of war, and he only freed the slaves from the southern slave, like from the states that seceded and the border states. So it's not all of the slaves are free. It was only some slaves to begin with. And it's not like they were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna listen. Like they seceded.
It
They're
was
not even a
years.
part of the union anymore. They're in a war with them, you know? So it was like it was just to piss them off. And then after the war they passed the 13th and 14th Amendments, but it wasn't because the country had changed and Abraham Lincoln wanted to free the slaves. Abraham Lincoln had his own slaves. Like he didn't free his own slaves.
And they say that that's when segregation got really bad. You know, they freed the slaves. Like, fuck, now what are we going to do with all these
Right.
people?
Cuz okay, so somebody described it as like um owning slaves was like owning a home. Like it's like the same, held to the same standard. Like today your goal is to own a home. But like back then your goal was to like own a slave, have enough money to own slaves. Cuz not everybody owns slaves. You had to be relatively wealthy to own a slave. But like that was the thing. So like Lincoln freeing the slaves was like telling everybody you can't own homes anymore. We're coming and taking your homes. So like that's how they reacted, and it was a violent reaction, obviously. But like that's what it was compared to because it was held to that standard. Like it fueled their livelihood. Like that was their livelihood. Like the South was its own country because it could be its own country. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they made a confederacy because they had enough money to start their own country. The Confederacy was like, I think number 6 at the time as like richest countries in the world. Cause it was the cotton gin and then it was the middle of like the Industrial Revolution. So the cotton from America fueled Great Britain.
And think about that money. That money didn't just dissipate.
No.
That money is passed down. And so these families have money
Yeah.
off the work of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we ain't get shit from it.
Not a dime.
It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame how minorities have been treated in this country.
Yeah.
Black people, of course, even women. Like women recently got the right to vote.
Right. Yeah.
If you think about the timeline, the past 100 years, a lot of shit
has happened. Yeah. Like
shit.
Think about how much we don't know. Like that always fucks me up because I'm like, we know this much, and like I always like get stressed out because I'm like, oh, I can learn more, but I'm like, think about how much that one I don't know that's on the internet or is out there for me to find, and two that how much was not written down, like
Not documented. Yeah.
how much don't we know?
Mm-hmm. It's scary.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a St. Louis thing, but I'll be trying to speak to some black people here. It's like look through you. Does that happen to you? Like when you're in public and shit?
I don't
You don't
talk
speak
to people in
See,
public.
you one of them niggas I be trying to speak to.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, how you doing?
No, when you saw me in the store the other day, like I saw you like look at me and I had on like tunnel vision. I was like, why is this person looking
The
at
thing
me?
is, I was looking at the beers. You walked by and like, I think that's Sid. I was like, I was gonna do that. Hey, Sid, and put my head down because if it wasn't you, you weren't gonna look.
Right.
But I didn't want to be rude. And
But
then
no.
they talked about your nails. I'm like, that's motherfucking Sid.
No, when I was walking past and you were looking at the beers, I was like, why did he look at me? Because I'm like that type of person. Like I'm tunnel vision. I'm going in, looking and getting exactly what I need, and I'm leaving. Do not talk to me. I don't want to talk. Like I just get so nervous in public. Like I have bad social anxiety. Like it takes a lot for me to just walk into a place.
Huh.
And all I wanted was some water.
Yeah.
And I tripped over like a sign or something in there too. I'm like, this is why I don't come outside.
So you got social anxiety.
Like a motherfucker, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, in college, my social anxiety is bad. Like I would never eat in the cafeteria.
I never went to Spelman once. Once. Because
I'd only go to Spelman if I had someone to walk in with me and then we like sit down together.
Yes.
Or if I go, I'm waiting in line getting my food and I'll walk to my room and eat alone.
I'm talking about before Spelman was
the
like Chick-fil-A and stuff.
I never went there. No, I went to Evans to go.
No, I'd never been there. And I went to Evans like literally 2 times. And I went because my roommate had made me. Like she was like, we're going to get food. But I lived on Duchesne, like 628 Duchesne. It's like by the Taco Bell. Like the Taco Bell was literally right there.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
So I ate Taco Bell pretty much every day.
Damn, girl, you didn't go at all?
I went twice. I ate Taco Bell or I ate ramen. Like, and that was it.
Oh, damn.
Because I hated Lindenwood, first of all. I did not want to be there when I first moved. And then the only reason I found my roommate was because I was on a cheer scholarship and she was the only other black girl. And she was like, we need a roommate. Do you want to move in? And I was like, okay. And that was it. And I barely talked to her.
Damn.
I did not talk to anybody.
Yeah. Very similar. Like I said, I'd be in and out, and the thing I'd hate like I'd go with my friends sometimes to eat lunch. It'd be cool. Like, it'd be a good experience for me. But I'd hate when we go sit at one of their friends' tables.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, I'm always overthinking. Like, how do I get involved in the conversation? And the thing is, I'll just be sitting there like actively like overly listening. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me get in, and it would always be awkward. Like, my anxiety was really bad.
Yeah, I'd just be on my phone if that were the case.
See, my thing is, I'd always have my headphones in, like so I can. But
No,
Linda
I
would.
did a lot of grab and go.
I hate they took that shit
That
away.
was the best thing in the world for
I
me.
used to get those Rice Krispie treats. Those were so good.
Bro, no, they used to have the best bagels in like the old
Oh
library.
wait.
I would go there I had a class like next
Oh,
door every single day at 1 o'clock. I would come in there at 12, finish my homework for the class, and get a bagel with plain cream cheese and a coffee. And the man every day would ask me, "What can I get you?" I'm like, "Bro, you see me every day. Do not ask me what I want. Just go get my bagel."
they fucked us up. They got Chick-fil-A and Starbucks. I got big first semester. They had chick. I ain't capping. I'd eat that shit for lunch and dinner, but I'd always make sure to eat the pickle. I'm getting my vegetable, but I got big.
No,
I
yeah,
remember I was
same.
walking to class. I was like, I gotta stop.
Yeah, I did too. And like I started instead of getting fries for it, I would get the fruit.
Oh yeah.
I would do that. And like that helped a little bit, but it was still Chick-fil-A.
Did you ever do work and learn at Lindenwood?
I did. And I worked in Scheidegger and it was the easiest job in the world. I loved it.
I've got a story for you.
Oh, what happened?
Freshman year, I was a desk sitter. That was awesome.
Where?
In Fremer, I was a desk sitter at
Okay.
Fremer. But sophomore year, I kind of neglected it because I was trying to get work for the PE, like the gym.
Hmm.
Didn't get that. So I had to work in the kitchen. And it was bad. It was really bad. Because I remember I worked, you know, you get the pasta and the pizza and everything.
Hmm.
I was working there and they'd always be like, people always be, give me some more mac and cheese. I ain't gonna say no, so I'd give them a lot of mac and cheese.
Oh shit.
And one day the chef pulled me out. He's like, "You gotta stop giving him so much." He's yelling at me and shit. I'm like, "What the fuck?" So he starts going off on me. And ever since then, I'd come in, clock in, take the trash out down the elevator, and just go home. And then come back in, come back in through the elevator, clock out, and leave
And you got away with it?
for a little bit.
What did they say?
I don't think they said anything. I think I just stopped giving a fuck.
Did they fire you?
No, I just stopped showing up. I was really depressed at the time.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
It was a bad time. I hated it. I was just not in a good place.
Hmm.
But yeah, I used to do that. But I swear, I think I did get caught one time because I did it, and my friend was sitting in Evans, so I sat at the table with him, and the guy was looking. He was looking. He went back to the kitchen. When he went back to the kitchen, I dipped. I don't think I clocked out.
Man, that is interesting. I would have never been smart enough to think about that.
Yeah, it was not for me.
Dude,
Lindenwood, I did have a good time at college, but I also didn't. Now that I'm thinking about it, something I did want to address is friends. How old are you?
25. Just turned
25.
25.
So at this age, how do you maintain friendships? Because at this age, you really do start to grow apart from people.
Hmm.
How have you been able to maintain long-term friendships, and how are you making new friends?
Well, I think that like for one, social media definitely plays a big role because a lot of the people that I am friends with are from high school. So like um I, am friends with them and I send them stuff on Instagram. Like it'll just be stuff like that. Like we don't necessarily talk every day, but I'll send them like what I think is funny on Twitter. Like we're in Twitter groups like that. So that definitely plays a role. I'll say that. And then as far as my friends that are here, we just go out and stuff. Like a lot of my friends I literally only see when we go out and it's like we never left,
That's
Like
awesome.
it's so cool. But yeah, just Instagram, Twitter, social media. I text them every now and again. Like one of my friends just moved to Houston like this weekend and I texted her, I was like, "Hey, how'd the move go?" And I was like that kind of thing. She called me and we just caught up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've noticed I got a lot of white friends.
Mm.
And I think that I'm the only black friend.
How do you feel about that? That's a terrible place to be, honestly. I hated that. I was working my last job, I won't say where. But my last job worked with a lot of ex-cops, ex-military, that kind of thing, and they were white, and I'm sure, positive, absolutely certain that they didn't have any black friends. So seeing stuff pop off and just the normal day to day was usually awkward because they overcompensate. Like they feel like we're friends, but I'm like, you're a coworker for one, and two, you're old, so no. But yeah, I know that's a very terrible place to be. The token
Yeah.
black friend.
I feel like I feel like I've always kind of fallen into that role
Mm,
my whole life. And now that I'm aware of it, I don't want that shit.
it's weird.
Yeah, it really is. And that's something I'm really trying to avoid. Like my whole life, I've always been like one of the few black kids.
Mm,
And I'm bright. Like I'm smart, and the way I articulate myself, I always feel like I had extra eyes on me and I couldn't disappoint them. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
At this point, I'm just being myself. Like that's really all I can be.
mm.
I like myself, so I don't really give a fuck if you don't, because I'm happy. I'm at a
Period.
like I'm internal peace, I guess you could call it. I'm still awkward as fuck. Social anxiety fucks with me, but
Yeah, same.
yeah.
That's
So
good. It's a great place to be.
yeah, how do you handle your anxiety?
I don't.
You don't?
I like as far as like the social anxiety goes, it kind of went away more so, or like I've learned to just push it away as like I've gotten older, cuz I know like you're not going to be able to get shit done if you can't talk to people. You're not going to be able to do anything. So like I just started forcing myself into awkward situations. A lot of public speaking and stuff I had to do. So I was like, might as well get over it because you're going to have to do it anyway. So that kind of thing. But I don't really handle it, I'll say.
It is. I was talking to one of my friends, and we kind of came to the conclusion that like mental health resources and like therapy should just be something that every American citizen has access to.
Hmm.
It should just be a basic human right for American citizens, because everyone's going through some kind of mental health thing,
Hmm.
and we're paying all this money in taxes. Why can't you just make some kind of resource for citizens to take advantage of? I mean, we got like the suicide line and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
have it to where you can get 30 minutes a week with a therapist for free.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I kind of had to figure out that like everybody has something. Like the more you realize, like everybody has something. Like there's nobody that doesn't have some sort of mental health
Mhm.
issue. And like that's something you probably look at. Like that's probably like a public health issue.
You're right.
Like there's no reason why an entire nation should have a mental health issue.
Everybody is going through something.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's part of the human experience or whatever, but at the same time, like you should be able to deal with it and it should be afforded to you to have, a therapist or whoever you need.
Someone.
Someone, yeah.
I think platforms like this, where people openly talk about what they go through, allows other people to hear it and be like, "Hey, I'm not alone. I'm not
Yeah.
the only one going through this."
Yeah. I definitely have to tell myself, like, you are not special. Whatever thought you have, there's a billion people, lots of billion actually, like 7 billion people
Yeah, a
on
lot of
earth.
people.
And right now, and how many billion before you? Like, this thought that you have is not the first one that's been had. Like, someone else thinks the same thing or has it worse. Like, you're not different, I guess.
Brings us to, I got a question. I've been asking a lot of questions, but what what does success mean to you, and when do you feel that you will have been successful?
No, success to me would be like, I have money, lots of it to save. I have a retirement plan. I have, like, what is it, a Roth
Yeah,
IRA?
Roth IRA.
That I got all that.
Yeah.
All that's popping. I got stocks. I got a house that, I'm paying enough on to where like I won't be in danger of losing it. I have a car, I have a job, and I'm doing well in it. Like I have plans of progressing and like maybe a family's there. That would be nice, but like, I have friends, I have loved ones at least. Like that would be success.
Something that I've noticed. I don't really wouldn't say notice, but I think about death a lot, not in a morbid way, but in a sense that every day I want to make sure that the people in my life know that I always tell my mom, my dad, my brother, my girl like that I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to talk to them like every day just to make sure that I'm in communication with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that if something does happen to me, like if I do die,
They'll know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think about death in a negative way. I just want to make sure that every day the people that I care about know I care about them.
Yeah, because you never know what happened.
Exactly. Like Kobe ain't know he was gonna pass away when he got in that
Oh my
helicopter.
God, you didn't have to bring up Kobe.
I think of
Didn't
no,
have to fuck me up like that.
that really changed the way I live. You know, it's just
Yeah, that was so sad.
it fucked me up. Kobe's my favorite player. I got a fat head in my parents' house of Kobe. Like that's my guy. It didn't seem real, and honestly, and the way they did that, how they reported it without talking to his
Bro.
fucking like family, like you don't do that.
I'll never forget that because I was in Chicago when that happened. I was in my friend's shower and he was screaming like, "Hey, Kobe died." And I was like, I couldn't hear what he was saying. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Kobe Bryant." I was like, "Okay, what? Died." Oh my God, what? And I came out and I saw that on the news. Like they were just because remember at first they were like the entire family died.
Yeah.
And Rick Fox.
Yeah. They threw Rick Fox in there.
Like the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And then it was still bad, but like to just report that entire family is dead right now. That was a lot. That was very bad journalism.
For a while. Yeah, it was sloppy. It was so sloppy. They was letting rumors fly.
They were just wanting to be the first ones to have it out. And that was just not good.
Kobe and Rick Fox.
And Rick Fox was like, I'm at home. Like
you think Rick Fox look good?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
He a little strange looking, but he ain't bad. Maybe that's what makes him look good.
I mean, the silver hair. Yeah.
What's that dude's name and Think Like a Man? Light skin. Ends up with Taraji.
Couldn't tell you. I haven't seen it.
How you ain't seen Think Like a Man?
I know. I'm so sorry.
Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
That's a good movie. That's a good. Like, it's funny.
I'll add it to my list. Hold on.
No, don't just cap. You better do it.
I watch a lot of movies. I don't have anything to do all day. All I do is watch movies and documentaries.
That's really all you do? You cook for yourself?
Oh my God, no. Yesterday I put a lasagna in the oven and I made breadsticks for my family and my dad damn near fainted.
The food was that bad?
No, it was. He was like,
I'm sorry.
No, he was like, you cooked? And I was like, yeah, I did a little sign or whatever.
Did you like it? It was good?
Yeah. I was like, how was it? It's literally like a fucking Russell Stover. Like lasagna. Frozen lasagna.
I thought you was laying out the pasta sheet.
No, like, okay, I won't say that I can't cook. I just don't. Like, I can cook if I have a recipe. I've made the mac and cheese at Thanksgiving before.
They trusted you.
They trusted me with the mac and cheese at Thanksgiving. It was good. It was a hit. So it's not that I can't cook. I just don't. I make breakfast for myself because that's easy. It's breakfast. Like, everybody can make pancakes.
Yeah, breakfast is.
That's the easiest. But no, I don't like cook. I make pasta because that's easy. Yeah. Alfredo sauce is so easy to make. Like I can make like an Alfredo from scratch. Like I can do it.
You make the sauce?
Yeah.
Nice.
But like I just don't.
I understand that. When you get your own place, you'll probably start cooking more.
And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I also don't really eat meat. And that's what my parents love. They love
They eat a lot of pork?
Yeah.
I don't eat swine. Niggas always laugh when I say that.
Because you sound like a hotep.
But yeah, I think that we really grew up in a good time. Like a lot of good movies.
Definitely.
A lot of good TV too. I
definitely have like a different, gamut of movies that I'm thinking of.
Me. You better not say Twilight.
No.
Okay. Good.
But I was thinking like Lizzie McGuire movie, High School Musical. Those movies made me into the woman I am today.
Huge High School Musical fan. Not gonna lie.
Ginormous High School Musical.
Do the double pump, right pump, clap. Yeah. I don't dance. I know you can.
Oh,
Not a chance. I'm a big High School Musical. I'm a geek. I love that shit.
okay, yeah.
So you're a
That
Disney Channel kind of girl.
definitely Disney Channel. I was a Disney Channel bitch from day one. Absolutely. I
See,
wanted to grow up to turn into Lizzie McGuire. Like I thought I was gonna be Lizzie McGuire.
when did you stop watching? Because I know they had like Always Sunny. That's when I started like phasing out. Like Always Sunny, Sweet
That's a
Life
good
on Deck.
question. I think I stopped watching probably after Sweet Life on Deck went off. Probably.
Yeah, that's the time I started phasing.
Well, no, I watched Wizards of Waverly Place a little bit.
That's around the same time. I thought that was a good show. I like that.
It was cool, but I didn't like it that much. It wasn't like my favorite, but I
That's when
was
the
watching
quality
it.
was decreasing.
Yeah.
They had Sunny. Wow, that was Demi Lovato's show.
I like that.
Yeah,
Well, I like the So Random. I like
So
the
Random was
show.
good. So Random was good. Wait,
Yeah.
that was in the show though, right?
Yeah, it was like in the show and it was its own show too.
That was good.
I'm trying to think of what else. Like I liked a lot of Disney Channel.
Corey in the House.
I liked Corey in the House.
I'm
I
trying to.
didn't like That's So Raven.
Yeah, we had this discussion earlier. That's So Raven was good. Like that's a good. Like I was watching that recently and still laughing.
Like I know that I've seen every episode, but that's just because I only watch Disney Channel for real. Like it was Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, or Cartoon Network, and like
You know what? You gonna piss me off. What are your top 3 shows that were on Disney Channel?
on Disney Channel
Yeah,
ever,
yeah.
Lizzie McGuire, duh. Period.
Boo.
Period. Lizzie
Boo.
McGuire was number one. I don't care what anybody else has to say. Lizzie McGuire was the best Disney Channel show they ever had. Then probably like Hannah Montana. I liked Hannah Montana a lot.
Okay.
I met her.
I watched Hannah
Went
Montana.
to 2 concerts. I met her at a guitar pick.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she threw it because my brother was a baby and he was cute. So,
Nice.
then probably like I don't know. It's just like up in the air after that. Probably Sweet Life.
Okay. We got a different experience. Again, I'd probably go with That's So Raven. Kim Possible. Kim Possible was
Kim
my
Possible is good.
show.
Kim Possible is good.
And it's probably a toss up between Sweet Life and Even Stevens. I was watching.
I liked Even Stevens a lot.
I think Recess was on Disney too. I liked Recess too. So it's probably a toss up between
Recess
those.
is definitely a classic. That was more like I'm getting ready for school in the morning though.
Yeah, you're right.
Than like I watched it, I guess, but like I didn't watch it that much. And then there were those shows that didn't really hit it off like on regular primetime Disney, but then they would play them when they went off the air like 2 a.m.
What shows?
Like Brandy and Mr. Whiskers.
That show was
shit.
actually good.
Dave the Barbarian.
I was about to say that.
Woo!
The
They
Emperor.
need to put that on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Dave the Barbarian was good as fuck.
Forgot about that show. They had
I
The
used to love that
Replacements.
one.
I like The Replacements.
I did like that one. I liked that one after it went off TV though. Like when it was on in the middle of the night.
You're right. You'd wake up in the middle of the night and it'd be some goofy show on, but it would keep you up.
Yes.
That always happened
The
to
shit
me.
was good. Like middle of the night shit. But I didn't really like them when they were on TV. Like when they were coming out with new episodes and stuff.
Because we had other shows we were attached to.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wild. Growing up, the experiences. I think we had a good experience. We really didn't have technology, but we had.
And that's why I think we should be our own generation. Like I feel like people our age, like maybe 5 years earlier and 5 years younger. Well, not even 5. 5 may be pushing it. Maybe 2 or 3. But like we grew up with technology and without technology. So we're not necessarily millennial because we weren't like old as fuck when 9/11. I think it should revolve around how old you were when 9/11 happened.
That's an easy benchmark. I actually don't mind that.
So yeah, like I don't remember 9/11, especially I think it has something to do with the fact that we're in the Midwest. Like that probably had a lot to do with it. Like we didn't have any connections to New York or whatever. So, you know, like that probably has something to do with it. But I'm just saying, like, as far as we grew up, we had to call our friend's house phone and ask for so and so.
Riding bikes.
But then we also had phones. Like we could text in middle school and stuff.
Yeah, when I first got a phone, I had a text message plan. I had like 250 texts.
Right.
And I was going over that shit.
Oh my God.
My mom was getting mad.
Every month. Yes. I got a phone in 3rd grade and had no one to text.
Third?
Yes,
I didn't get mine until
because
8th.
it was a safety thing. Like I got dropped off at like swim practice or dance or whatever, and my parents just wanted me to call them, but that was it. I only talked to my parents, like nobody else on the phone.
Man.
But when people started getting a phone, I went over that text plan every month. So yeah, that's why I think we're different. And like my brother's 18, he's a much different experience.
We lived a different life.
Yeah.
We really did live a different life. Like the friends that I grew up in my neighborhood with, am still in communication with them because it was like you said, you call the house phone, it's this person home. You ride your bike over to their house. You guys just mob up. And we really made experiences back then, and it's different.
Like you remember like the first computer you had in your house, like that was the first computer people owned in their homes, and like the first time you had dial-up internet, all that shit. Like kids 18 don't know that. They don't know how to send a fax. They don't know how to sign their name in cursive. They don't know how to send a letter.
They don't know about them now CDs.
Oh man, now what do you have a favorite now?
My brother, he'll kill me for talking about this, but he used to have a bunch of now CDs. And the most memorable one is Somebody Once Told.
Oh, that's like the first or second one. That was an early one.
Yeah. He's born in 91.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that was an early one.
He had those now CDs. And the thing is, he's 5 years older than me. So I'm like old enough to like listen to the CD. He said, turn that shit off. We listening to this now. He was trying to get me hip to rap because he's 5 years older than me.
Oh.
He used to get mad at me for listening to the shit he was listening to. It's like, nigga, I got this CD from you.
Oh yeah, that was an early one. I have the first ever Kids Bop cassette tape.
That shit's weak. My parents would never buy me no Kids Bop.
It was literally only because they advertised it like it was just songs for kids.
Shit
like
was hot.
I vividly remember playing it for the first time in the car and being pissed when it wasn't Britney Spears. I thought it was Britney Spears singing Oops, I Did It Again. When I heard some dumbass kids on there, I remember freaking out.
See, when I was a kid, I never thought that kids were actually singing the song. So you see the kids on the commercials, I'm like, oh, must be like kids friendly mixes.
Yes, exactly.
Why you got these little munchkins singing?
Oh my God, I was so mad. My parents were mad. Like it was literally a cassette tape we put on in the car. Kids today don't know what a cassette tape is either. That's another one.
Did you when you had a car, did you ever have that cassette aux cord?
No, because my cars were always like either too new or too old.
Don't flex. Okay, I'm about to say that. Don't flex.
No.
All my cars had Bluetooth. I had Bluetooth in 16.
No, because my first car was an 06, so like it was past having a cassette tape, but like I didn't have a Bluetooth or anything. I had to get like one of the radio.
Yeah, I still use one of those.
So
today.
yeah.
Okay. Our experience was so different.
Yeah.
Being introduced to technology, like you said. And I think that sets us apart. Like you said, we need to be.
We're our own generation. Because I don't consider myself the same as like somebody that's going on 40 now. Like there's no reason why we're in the same generation.
I low-key think we might be the strongest and smartest generation. Just because of we got both sides of the spectrum. We were taught cursive. Kids today aren't taught cursive. And then we were introduced to technology. So when it comes to these computers, laptops, cell phones, we know how to work them.
And we were introduced to them when they were coming out. Like, so we had the very first of everything. Like,
yeah, we had our parents rushing to buy us iPods, iPhone. We were here.
And then we had to teach them.
We were here for it all. Like we saw the BlackBerry go away. Like we've seen so much. We know a life before this shit too.
Like the MapQuest. You remember I have to printing out MapQuest to go someplace?
And then my brother took me somewhere and we got lost. He said, let me see the paper.
Paper, yes. You had a piece of paper. Like kids today will not know that.
We had a piece of paper. You said, let me see the MapQuest.
Yes.
And you got to go look for that road. Like
MapQuest was a thing.
We know both sides.
Yeah.
It's wild. There used to be a life before cell phones just controlled us.
Right. And like we lived it. Like we were there enough.
But think about our parents when they were kids. Be home when the street lights come on. If you want to call someone, you go to a payphone. It was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we saw the decline in payphones. Like we saw them disappear.
Do you think that this is kind of hurting us mentally? And what I mean by that is previous generations, like our parents and grandparents, they had to remember things. Like if they had to go somewhere, they had to know where to turn, and they kind of used observations.
Mhm.
And nowadays, everything is just in front of us. And what's crazy is people don't fully take advantage of their phones. They'll ask a question, not know the answer, and just say fuck it. When you can literally find the answer in 5 seconds.
Mm.
So do you think it's kind of hurting us, or how do you feel the technology's impacting?
I mean, like, there's definitely like downsides to it. Like the whole everybody has like social anxiety and like the self-esteem issues from like Instagram and stuff. Like that's definitely a thing. Our eyes are probably all just fucked.
Oof.
Our fingers, carpal tunnel, like we probably all got all kinds of stuff. But at the same time, like I can call somebody in New York or Paris or Tokyo.
You used to have to pay to call someone outside your state.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
You had to pay to call somebody not on your network after a certain time. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
no,
You can only make calls like from Sprint to Sprint after like 7:30 or something like that. Like it was crazy. Like, but I can pick up the phone. I don't even have to call them. I can text them. I can Instagram somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like it's globalization is just so much easier now than like our parents. But I definitely think that like they're better at talking to people, that's for
without a
sure.
doubt, without a doubt.
Like that's definitely true. But like I don't know. I think they're good things and bad things.
But yeah, like you said, communication's definitely faltering.
My brother definitely does not know how to talk to people. But like I do because I had to, hi Mrs. Blah blah blah, is blah 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 home? Like I had to do that every day.
You better speak when you go in somebody's mama house.
Exactly. Exactly.
You better speak. My parents used to get mad. They be, bring your friends down here. I remember one time though, I went over to my friend. I'm not gonna say his name. I went over to his friend's house, and his mom was like, "Tell him the rules." She's like, he had to tell the house rules. Like, you can't wear shoes in the house.
Yeah.
You got to do this and that. I'm like, okay.
And like I used to hear my parents say that and I'd be like, "Oh my god, my parents are so embarrassing. They're so crazy." But like everybody's parents did that. Like
Yep.
like everybody's parents have rules like that.
Have you seen the doc? You watch docs on Prime, right?
Mhm.
You seen the one where the white guy? It's a white guy, and he's with his mom, and he's. It's a good documentary. You've sat.
What is it about? You haven't
It
said
just, it
anything.
just, it just really talks about like systematic racism in the country. How his family said that they owned hundreds of slaves, but they only owned like 13.
Actually, yes.
That's a good documentary.
I have seen that.
That's a good
What
documentary.
was where his whole family history was wrong. Like I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I watch so many fucking documentaries I can never keep track. But yes, I know what you're talking about.
I love watching docs, but the thing is, I feel like I need to take notes. How many docs you watch in a week?
In a week? Jeez. I don't know, at least probably 20.
Oh,
I watch a lot of documentaries. Like,
tell me something from one. You got to have a lot of information. Tell me something you've learned.
I mean, oh my god, I'm still on the spot. I don't know.
You already told me about Chicago, and that was messed up. How they were fake selling black people houses and were evicted, and that shit was.
Yeah, that was actually just an article though. Like,
Oh, so you read too?
yeah, kind of. Like if I see something, I'll read it. Yeah, but like I'm not gonna search out. I just happened to come by it. It
Okay.
wasn't like I was looking for it. But um, the last documentary I watched was actually about. You told me to look up a Black History figure. It was about the Black History figure that I chose.
So I'm launching a new segment, and I'm gonna call it Black Heroes, which is really where I ask guests to talk about a black hero, someone significant to them, and it doesn't have to be an essay. Just tell me why this person is important to you and the impact they had on you, and what they mean to you. And you said you have someone. Who do you
Yeah.
have?
His name is Harry T. Moore, and
Okay.
his wife is Harriet. They're from Florida, and they're actually like not really known in history, and it's kind of sad because um most of the documentaries and like stories and stuff that I read of them mention like had they died maybe like 3 years later, then they would be the Medgar Evers. Like they would be who we think of when we think of like the first deaths of the civil rights era. So Harry Moore, he's also the first person from the NAACP to die, like the first official from the NAACP. So he did a lot for voter registration in Florida. So he made the rate for people registered for black people registered to vote from like 15% to like 45% in a
Damn.
year. Like in a year. He did it all by himself basically, and he started off as a school teacher in Florida, and his wife as well, and then they got fired for their work for civil rights. Like, the white people got mad. It's Florida, it's the South, like it's deep
Yeah.
South. They got mad and his job fired him. So then he worked full time for the NAACP as like the executive secretary for the state of Florida for their branch. And he like was doing a lot as far as voter registration goes, and he went to a lot of rural towns, and like they NAACP didn't really like that because they wanted more money. So like the rate of um like membership fell the same year that they rose. They raised the membership fee from $1 to $2 the same year. So like they don't really know if it was from that or from him not recruiting as many people as they wanted. So they ended up letting him go too. And weeks after they let him go, someone from the Klan put an explosive under his bed while he and his wife were sleeping. They waited for them to go to sleep. They waited for the light to turn off. And then they detonated it. Like they blew up the house under their bed. The mattress went to the sky, and like they said that like every bone in his body was broken. And he died like that night later on in his mom's arms. And then his wife died a few days later after his funeral. And they're the first typically pretty much the first deaths of the civil rights era, but like people don't know about them because it was in like 52, I think, but it was before Brown versus Board of Education. So like that's when they start the civil rights era. But like after that, then the NAACP started like, I guess, using his name more so to raise money and like do the stuff that he was trying to do before they let him go. So yeah, him, Harry T. Moore.
Fuck me up.
Yeah. It's a fucked up story. And it's like so sad that like we don't learn about him. The stuff that he was involved in, like I made it really brief. Like his story is very long. He did a lot. Like a lot. So he first came on the scene because of like, the typical like story of a white woman saying that a group of men raped her, and they just pick up four random ass black dudes and charge them. Well, all four of these black men ended up dead, but between like the initial her saying that and the trials, and one of them died at the hands of the like sheriff. Like he shot him, and that was like a big thing. So he gained traction because he was fighting for like their rights and like their case in particular, and he was in contact with Thurgood Marshall. Like he did the case for the boys.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
So like his daughter was doing a lot of the talking, and she was saying that like Thurgood Marshall was always at their house because he was working on those cases. But yeah, he did a few of those cases like that.
Talking about white women accusing, black groups of black men makes me think about lynchings and
Mm,
how lynchings weren't that long ago,
right.
and how groups and families they'd send postcards that they were at a lynching.
It's
That
weird.
it is. And the thing is, these are people's
I
grandparents,
was just
great
about to say that.
great grandparents.
Smiling, cheesing, like it's a literal just a day out. Like
They took their kids to watch people get murdered.
they stopped school. Like they let kids come to see the lynching at like recess and stuff.
They would literally send postcards saying that they were at such and such lynching. And like these people, some of these people are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some of the people that would spit on our people coming integrating into their school are still alive.
Still
And they
alive. They have kids, and they told their kids, and they told their kids, and we expect racism to have just gone away. Like there's no way.
it's- it is forever going to be embedded in this country.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I do think things have improved, but at the same time they haven't, because anytime we bring up the turmoil we've gone through, I guess the term would be gaslight. They just dismiss it.
Yeah.
And it's
They think just because it's not outright racism, not outright Jim Crow laws, anything anymore, that racism has just disappeared. And they're like, well, Martin Luther King did this. Well, you killed Martin Luther King for one. So he didn't die for anything. First of all, you killed him.
He was killed.
Yeah. So, and he had much more radical ideas than people make him out to be. They make him out to be this, you know, hand in hand kumbaya type of man because he was a preacher, but like he wanted liberation for black people just like Malcolm X did. He just wasn't as scary.
Yeah, Malcolm X was real. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
Malcolm
Malcolm
X.
X.
Love Malcolm. He's a real one. But Martin did say that one quote where I feel I've led my people into a burning building, and that I think he became aware that no matter what, we were never gonna get what we truly wanted, truly deserved. It's a damn shame. The segregation wasn't even that long. The civil rights movement wasn't that long ago.
Right. Like my dad went to segregated, like he's from Arkansas. So he definitely like had a segregated pool. He went to a black school, and like the cemetery down there, like we just buried my great grandmother like a couple years ago, and like there's a black side of the cemetery and the white side of the cemetery, like still to this day.
I worked at a pretty prestigious retirement home down in St. Louis, and the residents were telling this story. I could overhear him, and there was this pool, and this black family wanted to swim in the pool. They let them swim in the pool, and the second they got out, they drained the pool. Just overhearing shit like that, and this was people that the residents knew. It's just like, what the fuck?
It's weird. Like when you think about it, like you're weird. You're doing all this for what? For me? Because I'm black? Like it's weird. Like I don't know how else to say it.
And it kind of brings me back to that token thing, to where, how do these people see me? You know, how do, like,
you're not one of those black people.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah,
and you're not one of those. You're cool.
I've been biting my tongue, like whenever white men talk about Kamala Harris, I maybe some of it is the politics. I also think some of it is the fact that this is a black woman.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
Like, so
they hated Obama.
Just stop.
But no, yeah, I agree. Like they hated Obama, but like they don't ever mention all the terrible things that Obama did. They just hate Obama.
Yeah.
Like for no reason other than like his middle name is Hussein, but like the first lady is an immigrant. So
it's really just getting to the point, especially in a time like this, where if you ain't with us, you against us. And I really ain't trying to hear that shit right now.
At all.
With everything that we've gone through in this year alone.
Right.
Like the shit just happened in Philadelphia. Like with everything going on, it's just like, you don't know what we're going through. You don't know our perspective. So if
you don't care to know either.
Exactly. So if you're going to say something negative to try to like deter how I'm feeling and try to make me think a different way, I don't need that right now.
Right.
Just be supportive and understand that we've been going through a lot, and we've gone through a lot. So either be with us or just keep your mouth shut.
Right.
That's how I feel.
100%.
That's how I feel.
Be an ally or shut up.
Simple and plain. But before I get you off,
okay,
I got one more thing. There's something that's really bothering me. The John Mattingly thing I showed you. The cop that was involved in the Breonna Taylor.
Right.
How he gonna get on NBC News and talk about what he was talking about. And what I wanted to talk about was how he addressed criminal profiling as opposed to racial profiling. He said that when you do the job long enough, you can go to areas where crime is heavy. And if people avoid eye contact with you, they swerve off. You can tell by how they act if they're guilty of something.
Because when you're dealing with criminal element, you talk about racial profiling. Good police, anyway, police I've worked with don't racial profile. You criminal profile. Let's address the fact that just because you're black, you're a threat. It's not the case. I'm not scared of you.
Well, that's how black men feel. That's how black women feel.
But does that make it real?
If it's how you feel, then it's real.
No, not necessarily.
So what is the difference between criminal profiling and racial profiling?
Criminal profiling is when you get to know an area, okay? When you work in an area long enough, you can tell by people's demeanors. If you pull up beside somebody and they don't make eye contact, they swerve off, there's just different elements of people's psychological game that they put out that you can tell when you've done something long enough.
So basically, it's a feeling.
Not just a feeling. I mean, it's a feeling that goes along with what you've experienced, with what is in the area, what should or shouldn't be.
That is the definition of racial profiling as opposed to criminal profiling. Because I think that black people are inherently scared of the police.
Right.
I can have nothing in my car, just be on a normal day, and a cop pull up next to me. I'm not looking at the cop. I'm just gonna keep my eyes straight and just keep my hands on the wheel, you know? And for you to assume that someone's guilty based off these little mannerisms,
Mm-hmm.
that just, I don't know. It shows you how these cops think.
And it's like, do white people make eye contact with cops? Like, do white people look over at cops?
Yeah, the
Like,
white people just, hey.
like I feel like white people don't necessarily love cops either, but like they love them when we hate them. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't like.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that anybody really loves cops like that. Like because nobody wants to be in trouble. Nobody wants to be involved with them at all. So it doesn't even make sense.
But since we're so against them, we got to be polarized.
Right.
We support the blue.
Right. They
And
didn't start supporting the blue until we started saying our Black Lives Matter.
facts. And the thing is, a lot of these political candidates, they're saying fund the police. They really misword what we say when we say defund the police.
Yeah, it's like a kid almost. Like you say one thing and they're going to say the exact opposite without even trying to figure out what it is that you're saying. They don't want to listen to you. They just know what you said,
Or wrong.
twist it, and then spin their own thing on it. Like, what do you mean fund the police? The police already have so much funding.
They are overfunded. And we say defund the police. We're trying to make it to where what happened in Philadelphia doesn't happen. This man was having
Exactly.
a mental health, like a crisis.
Yeah. He
They-
needed a mental health professional, not the cops to come and shoot him.
The cops didn't even have their tasers on him. They shot this man 8 times. He had a knife, but they knew when the person called 911, they say he was having a mental health crisis. In that situation, if we send someone who's trained to deal with these situations and can talk this person down, that's what we say. That's what we mean when we say defund the police.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about dismantle. We're not saying dismantle. We're saying defund.
I mean, I think the police should be abolished, but that's just me. But the defund the police is much different than abolish the police. It's a different call. Like it's a much different request.
It is. We really just, we want more. Like we really want to feel protected. We want to have someone we can call when someone is having a mental health breakdown,
Mhm.
to where they can talk this person down and get them back instead of taking this person away from us. And then we protest and riot and they call us crazy.
Right.
But y'all out here protesting and rioting over some damn mask. Y'all trying to kidnap mayors. Y'all trying to kill the potential presidential candidate, and we just supposed to overlook that. But we just asking for simple human rights. And y'all painting us out to be a villain. Y'all calling our movement a terrorist group.
Like nuts. It's nuts that the Black Lives Matter movement is considered a terrorist group, but the Klan, who's been wreaking havoc on America for centuries and generations, is not. That's nuts. Like, do you know how many branches of the Klan there are? Like, there's not just the Klan. Like, there's like different groups, and like the fact that they're even able to do that in the daylight and have jobs and whatever, like, it's crazy.
Man, and people want to say racism don't exist.
Like,
Open. All you got to do is pay attention. Just open your
drive down
eyes.
70. Like, that's all you gotta do.
Drive down 70 one way and take 64 the other way.
True. And that's it. That's all you gotta do. It's there, right there.
It's something that they'll never understand. They'll never even.
Because they don't want to. Like, that's the thing is, like, the information for them is out there. The people that write those think pieces and stuff on social media, like, the people that you're writing it to are never going to watch that or never going to read that or never going to listen to that, like, ever. Because they don't want to know. They know what's going on. And, like, everybody likes to talk about Get Out, how, like, that proves such a big thing. Like, you know, at the end of it, when you think it's the cop that pulls up, but it's not, even the white people were nervous. The white people know what's going on. They know. They're not stupid. They knew what was going to happen. But everybody let out a sigh of relief when it wasn't him or it wasn't a cop.
Oh my God.
And I think that's the biggest, like, testament to, like, you don't know what's going on. You just playing dumb.
You got to know what's going on at this
There's
point.
no reason you don't.
You have to. They don't care.
Because it doesn't affect them.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Like, why should we spend money for that when that doesn't affect us?
Mm-hmm.
Where can you really be black and be free?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Because, like, if you look at what's going on in Africa with
It's
N-Star,
so sad.
it's just like, where can we truly be free? If even, like, Rwanda, that shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening right now, it's just like, why can't we figure this out?
But that is everything that's happening in Africa. Any issue that they have is almost 99.9% because of colonialism and imperialism. Like I only know really about what's going on in I think, shoot, don't quote me. I think it was the Congo. I don't remember. Anyway, they have an issue with who speaks English and who speaks French. And it's like those are both European languages. Like that's why they're killing each other over the francophones and the anglophones, I think. But yeah.
It took me a while to even look at the NSAR stuff, even look at what's going on.
I couldn't.
It's like we battling our own demons up here, and to see it's going on in other places, it's just trauma.
Traumatic, literally traumatic. There's a lot of dead bodies, and I'm like, I don't really necessarily want to see that, but like, tell me the issue without showing me that. I think the country I'm thinking of is Cameroon. I think it's Cameroon, where they're having a war between the francophones and the anglophones, and it's literally directly from colonialism. Like, there's one's a minority and one's a majority, and there is a genocide.
I appreciate you pulling up again. Part 2 was lit. We got 2 hours of content before editing, so
yikes,
this shit about to be fire.
Good luck.
I'm gonna have a blast. We got good content, so I'm gonna be LOLing while I do this. This shit was great. Thank you so much for pulling up. And until next time, it's the Young Mind. Peace.
Bye.